Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. I'm your host, David Wright. Today was a big day. World Cup 2026. The draw happened earlier today. We have learned who the groups are, what the groups look like, and who the United States will be facing in the group stage. And spoiler alert right up front, I don't think it could possibly have gone any better. There were any number of ways this could have gone. And I believe, ended up with, let me see here, with probably the best possible scenario that we could have hoped for. Let me pull this over here. So because we were in pot one, because we were a host nation, we kind of got preceded into Group D. And then they drew, and our pot two opponent was actually Australia. Australia was the lowest ranked team in pot two. We couldn't have asked for anything more. And something about them that I'll get to in just a second, because from pot three, we also drew Paraguay, a South American team that is very beatable. How do I know that? Well, both Paraguay and Australia are recent opponents of ours. We've played them. They're the two out of our last three opponents. We just played Paraguay and Australia, and we won, didn't we? Did we win? Did we draw with Paraguay? Somebody tell me. But we had very strong performances here. And this, I mean, look, we could have ended up with all kinds of possibilities. We could have had Croatia. We could have had Norway. We could have drawn the playoff spot that has Italy in it. We didn't get any of that. We ended up with a group that looks extremely winnable. Now, because we drew an Oceania team and a CONMEBOL team, then we were required to end up with a UEFA team by the time we got to pot four. So we were only drawing from those four playoff spots. And the one everybody wanted to avoid was pot A because it has Italy in it. Everybody's kind of assuming that Italy, well, they're the strongest country that's in this that are in these playoff spots, the 16 European teams that are still vying for these final four spots. So Italy was kind of the person you want to avoid, even though they haven't made the last two World Cups. That's not the team you want, and we avoided them. We ended up in playoff C, which is, let me just run it down for you: Slovakia, Kosovo, Turkey, and Romania. Now, out of those countries, the highest ranked is going to be Turkey. And so if you're kind of assuming the worst, preparing for the worst, you kind of have to assume that Turkey's going to win that group, is going to get this spot, and they will be our fourth opponent in the group stage. We played Turkey in early June, just before the Gold Cup this year, and they beat us 2-1. But if you've been following the United States team at all this year, then you'll understand the significance of these names I'm about to read to you. Okay, let me find it real quick, because, well, I'm having trouble right now. The team that we played in June against Turkey, there's no way we're fielding a squad like that again. Let me listen to this. So we had Miles Robinson and Chris Richards at center back. We're not going to play Miles at the World Cup. We have Max Arfson and Alex Freeman on the outside defending positions. Both those players have improved a lot. At the time that this match took place, we were looking at that like those were kind of second string names. They've both improved a lot, have played well all year, and still might not be both starting there, but I also have a lot more confidence in them now than I did back in June. But the rest of this field that we fielded against Turkey in June, Luca De La Torre, Johnny Cardoso, Diego Luna as a starter, Malik Tillman as a starter, Jack McGlynn, and Patrick Agyemang, like, that's not our squad. That's not who we're going to play. We only lost 2-1, and we didn't look that bad. and we are going to field a much stronger team in the World Cup than the team that we fielded against Turkey earlier this year. And we are the highest ranked team in this group. We're number 14 in the world. And I believe Australia, let me see if I have those with me also. I'm going to try to find it here. Sorry. So Australia is ranked number 26. Like I said, they were the lowest ranked team in pot 2. Okay. Paraguay is ranked number 39. We're number 14. So this is looking like a very winnable group. And then when you get to playoff C, like I said, Turkey is the strongest one in that group that's going to come out of that European playoff. And I feel good. I forget about how we could play against them, considering even though we lost them in June, considering overall the performance that we got out of the squad that we played, like the squad that we fielded, I think we're going to be a lot better. The other, like I said, Slovakia, Kosovo, Romania, if one of those ends up coming out of that group, then you got to like your chances, a little bit better, because Turkey's the highest ranked out of those 4. So this is fantastic. This is basically a best case scenario. If you were to go through each of these groups and sub in the U.S. in place of the pot 1 team that's listed at the top of each of these groups, and decide, would we rather be in that group than the one we're in? No, I don't think so. I think we ended up with like a best case scenario. We have every opportunity to win this group. And here's the thing, with the expanded format, you've got 48 teams playing. The group stage is only going to eliminate 16 teams. We're going to get down to 32 after the group stage. So before this time around, the knockout stage started with 16 teams, and you only had to win 1 knockout to make the quarterfinals. Now there's going to be an extra knockout stage. Okay, group stage is only going to get us down to 32. Then you have to win a knockout game just to get to the round of 16. That's different. And then you have to win a second knockout game to make it into the quarterfinals. So in 2022, we got out of group. We played 1 knockout game and lost it. But that loss came in the round of 16. So for us to reach the round of 16 this time, we're going to have to win a knockout game. All right. There's an extra knockout round. And in order to get from 48 to 32, not only are the top 2 finishers in each group going to make it out of group, but there's going to be 8 third place teams. 8 out of the 12 groups are going to send their third place finisher into the knockout stage. So I think what the net result of this is, by having a larger field, you're spreading the countries out over a larger number of groups, and by sending 2/3 of the third place finishers out of the group also, I think that this it becomes a lot more realistic for teams in the middle of the pack to be able to get out. Right? There's fewer being eliminated, a smaller percentage of the total field being eliminated in the group stage. So you really, really have to like our chances of advancing. But for us to have the best possible chance to go far in the tournament, we need to go ahead and win this group, because the winner of our group will play a third place finisher. Okay. So don't know how it's going to shake out. Don't know if there's some crazy upset in another group somewhere that actually gives us a strong opponent finishing third there. That could be just the bad luck of the tournament. But obviously you're playing percentages, you're looking at it. You'd rather play a third place team in that first knockout round, right? And then the way it works out, and I was listening to MLS Moves. That's a YouTube channel that everybody should be subscribing to. But they were breaking down what these paths can look like. What they pointed out was that if you get past that, then you end up playing in the second knockout round the winner of Group G, and you're looking at either Belgium or Egypt. Well, playing Belgium is going to be a lot better, isn't it, than playing Spain or France or England? I mean, of all the pot 1 like quality teams that you might face in that knockout round, you could do a lot worse than Belgium. So it's becomes real easy to get excited and get optimistic. I mean, I'm over the moon. All I wanted for Christmas was a positive, World Cup draw result, and I think we got it. So this has just been it's been a great day as far as I'm concerned. Let me give me just a second to adjust here. See, I got a couple of comments already. Kevin in the house saying, USA, USA, you got it, brother. I tell you what, we have every reason to be excited, every reason to be optimistic. This is a group that we should be able to win. With the expanded field, there doesn't appear to be a group of death. I think you're exactly right, Chase. I think, everybody looks for that group of death. But like I said, because we're spreading the big teams out over a larger field, I think it becomes easier, right? I think that's what we're saying. If you were to pick one, it's maybe Group L, just because you've got England and Croatia, two very strong teams. I believe Croatia was a top 10 team. The only reason they're not in pot one is because we have 3 host nations. If this were a normal situation with one host, Croatia would have been a pot one team. But here they are playing England, who is in pot one. And Ghana has a history of having strong World Cup performances. So Group L might be the toughest group as I'm looking at it. That's my take. I don't know what anybody else thinks. Feel free to jump in the chat and let me know. Kevin says, I'm happy with this draw. How can you not be? If you look back, I didn't do the legwork, but I do know that in 2022, we had Iran, help me out, Iran, Wales, and England. Well, I like this group better than that. And I'd have to go back throughout, the last 30 something years to look at what all our groups were in the different World Cups. But I don't remember ever being this excited about our group draw that I am right now. Like, I think that this basically represents a best case scenario for us. And I love the fact, listen, what was I harping on for a couple of years since the last World Cup ended? That the biggest problem, a biggest challenge we were going to face by not having to go through qualification was finding quality opposition to play. And I tell you what, those fears were proven to be groundless. You have to tip the hat to the U.S. Soccer Federation for booking quality opponents, because look at this. It all kind of worked out. Like, enough teams went ahead and finished their qualifying early that we were able to go ahead and put them on our schedule. South Korea, Japan, right? Paraguay, Uruguay, Australia, Ecuador. We played all these teams. And look, we actually draw Paraguay and Australia. I mean, my goodness. Is there a better way to prep for your World Cup opponent than to go ahead and play them, right? Just like less than a year out from the World Cup. So, and we had positive results against them. So we should feel very, very confident about this. And like I said, if Turkey is the strongest person in that playoff group to come out, and you consider all the factors of what was behind our match against them in June, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about that too. So, and then I'll go ahead and talk about it now. Not only do you have all this worked out, now keep in mind the March FIFA window is going to be crazy, because all of these, the World Cup basically starts in March for these playoff teams, right? And everything is on the line for them in those elimination matches as they fight for these final spots that were drawn today. And we now have a reason to, as American fans, to keep an eye on that playoff group, that C group that has Turkey and Romania and Kosovo and all them. So that's going to be like must-see television. At the same time, in that window, we know who we're going to play in our friendlies, because we don't have to qualify. And guess who we have? We have Belgium and Portugal. Now, Belgium and Portugal are both in pot one, and we have them booked for these friendlies in March. We don't have to win those games. Like, we need to understand that that's a quality opponent that we might not ever face in the World Cup. If we do, it could be the quarterfinals or the semifinals before we face somebody like that. But I don't need to see wins against them. But what I do want to see is good play and good performance. And also, I hope that we will get something resembling our final squad. Like if Pochettino takes those games to still be experimental, I think we're wasting an opportunity for some really good preparation. I mean, you can't do better than playing your actual opponents in advance, like Paraguay and Australia. But then just before the tournament starts, you play the toughest competition you can find, and you're playing a pot one nation. I mean, you can't complain. You can't complain about that. Now, we might not win that, but we're going to put our guys through that gauntlet. All right. And they're going to get tempered. They're going to get seasoned. They're going to get experience. They're going to know what it's like, so that if you do face someone of that stature during the World Cup, you're coming at it without it being your first experience. You're not coming at it wide-eyed. You're battle tested, and you theoretically have learned lessons from whatever happens in March. So I love the fact that we have booked Belgium and Portugal, both pot one opponents, and those final two matches in June, just before the World Cup starts. We have those final run-up world warm-up friendlies that will take place after our rosters have been announced and finalized. We know who one of those opponents is going to be. It's Germany. We're going to play Germany in June, and we'll definitely have our World Cup team in place for that match. Again, a pot one opponent. They haven't announced who that final friendly warm-up opponent is going to be. I don't know if they're thinking they want another European team. I don't know if they want another pot one team. They're not going to get anybody. I hope they don't get anybody from CONCACAF, and I hope they don't get anybody. I don't think they would want to, or maybe they couldn't get anybody that's in our group. I don't think that would happen either. So, but tell me how y'all are feeling. I feel better about our program and about our chances, and I'm more optimistic than I have felt in a very long time. Got a comment here. What we have here. I agree that the friendlies need to be used for building cohesiveness and confidence. You know, we kept waiting, didn't we, all year for Pochettino to get serious about his roster and bring in the real guys and give them time together. And what has taken us all this time to figure out is that's just not his approach. So what he's doing is what it appears to be now is he's going to wait till the very last minute to make his decision. And he's not so concerned about giving his squad minutes together. And I think this is probably a ripple effect of him coming on late during the cycle. And, you know, where we are now with the program should have been where we were in 2023. But we didn't manage the time right. We didn't handle it the best way possible. So he's trying to do everything he can do to get the program ready and to identify his team. It's going to take him down to the last second. I'm afraid that's what he's going to do. But I think, to your point, Kevin, I would like for March to be where you got your team together and you're building that cohesiveness and you're giving them experience together. Because of the quality of that opponent, you don't want to waste that opposition on an experimental squad, in my opinion. I mean, you want to get your team out there and get them to learn what it's like to play together and to play together against someone of that stature. Barbecue Chase wants us to play another European team. I mean, yeah. If we're going to make a run, like what do y'all want to see? Tell me what you want to see, because I have said for at least 8 years, maybe 12, I have had this World Cup circled on my calendar, this future date of where our golden generation of talent would be in their prime age. And hopefully they've developed enough that 2026 would be the year that we made a deep run. And then a whole bunch of bad stuff happens and confidence plummets. However, we need to hold that standard, in my opinion, and say, no, we have to do at least as well as the 2002 team did, which is to reach the quarterfinals. In my opinion, that has to be the minimum bar. 2022, we got out of group and we lost in the round of 16. And that was a good result for 2022. I will not be satisfied with a equal or smaller result. I want us to do better than the round of 16. We have to at least reach the quarterfinals. I think it's possible. I really do. Considering where Pochettino has the program right now and considering how favorable this draw was for us today, I have to feel confident. Now, here's the thing. To match what we did last time, we have to win one more game. All right, there's more to do to even reach the same level that we were last time because of that extra knockout round that they've added to the format. So winning one knockout match doesn't improve on our 2022 finish. It only gets us to the same spot. We're going to have to win 2 knockout rounds in order to reach the quarterfinals instead of just one. And that's where I'm setting the bar. I'm not moving the bar. I want us to win 2 knockout games. The best way to do that is to win our group. That way we're drawing a 3rd place team for that first knockout round. So we need to take care of business. Now, look, these are winnable games, but they're not automatic. Today, so regular viewer John Pyatt sent this to me, and it's fantastic, and I want to read it to you. This is a quote that came from Pochettino in an interview directly after we knew the draw results, and I believe this was Alexi Lawless interviewing him. Lawless said that he said it would be an absolute disaster if the men's national team, the U.S. men, didn't advance out of the group. Well, I mean, first of all, I agree with Alexi on that. If we don't advance out of the group, I mean, if we don't advance out of the group, that probably means we finished 4th. So, yeah, that would be a disaster. But even if you interpret Lawless to mean we need to win the group or it's an absolute disaster, either way, I love what Pochettino said. Listen to his response. He said, quote, "We need to show our respect to our opponents. But I think we cannot win before we play. We cannot start to think about the next stage when we didn't play and face these guys. And this is going to be, for me, a wrong message. My message to the players is we need to compete better than Paraguay, and that's going to be difficult. Australia is going to be difficult, and the team that's going to join us is going to be difficult. We need to build our journey step by step, and we need to prepare like when we start to play on the 12th of June, like it's the last game, like it's the final of the World Cup." So I love that, right? As fans, we can look ahead. We can go, yep, we're going to beat them. We can beat them. We should be able to get this far in the tournament. But we don't want the team thinking like that, and we don't want the coach thinking like that. And I love what he said is that we can't win before we play. And even though these are opponents that we should be able to win, we can also lose to them. If we don't come in, if we don't prepare properly, come in and work hard and have things go well and play well, then we can still lose. So we have to come in and compete hard. Got another comment here from Barbecue Chase. Anything less than the Final Four will be disappointing. Group play can be used to help build cohesiveness. All right. So Chase says he wants us to get to the semifinals. I'm not going to argue with you, but by the time you reach the quarterfinals, it's going to get real tough. It's going to get real tough. You might be facing a France or a Spain or somebody like that, one of the tournament favorites. So, do you believe in miracles? I mean, 1980 Olympic hockey happened, right? So why can't this happen? Every great coach has the same approach. Poch, Saban, Smart. I agree. But I love the fact that he's like, nope, like, look, we have to respect the opponent, and we're going to prepare, for every match, and we're not looking past it. It's exactly the right attitude that you want to see. I want to take a little bit of time to also, let's see here, look at Canada. By the way, I got a lot of great engagement from Canadian fans this week when I talked about Vancouver. Guys, I appreciate all of you finding me and checking me out and leaving the comments. So I feel like I want to give Canada a little time here. Canada did not do as well. Their group's looking a little tougher than the US's. We know how tough Switzerland is. They completely demolished us. They hung 4 or 5 on us earlier this year. And Qatar is going to be a team that Canada is going to have to win if they're going to have any chance to advance, I think, because they also drew that A group in the UEFA playoff. And that's the group that has Italy. It seems likely that Canada is going to have both Italy and Switzerland in that group. That's going to be real tough for them. They could still end up in 3rd place. Now, I don't know all the tie-breaking rules for how they're going to determine the 8 third-place teams, but it's probably going to come down to goal differential. And so if they can at least keep it close against the European opponent and the playoff winner here and the Switzerland, if they can at least keep that close, then it could be they're going to have to find a way to pile on goals against Qatar in hopes of securing a third place finish. But it's tough. Canada's going to have a tougher road. Mexico has a better chance of finishing at least, let's say, in the top 2 of their group. But again, it is tougher than United States group, in my opinion, because that European opponent is going to be tough and most likely going to be Denmark, I believe. And you got South Korea, who is great. South Africa is probably the weakest team there in that group. But, would you rather have Australia and Paraguay, or would you rather have South Korea and Denmark? I mean, I can't get over how well this went for us. So anyway, that's what I've got. Y'all, it's here. Okay. So now we know our opponents. Our very first match is going to be against Paraguay on June 12th. We're going to be playing in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. And we're going to be playing Australia on the 19th in Seattle. And then we're coming back to LA on, I believe it's the 25th or 26th, to play that European team that we don't know who it's going to be yet, but right now we're assuming that it's Turkey. So it's here. We know our opponents. We can start game planning. We can start scouting. And now it's gotten real. Like the World Cup's gotten real for most teams in the world because of the qualification process, but now it's real for us. So I couldn't be more excited. I'm over the moon. I feel like we should win the group. I mean, that's my expectation. I'm not just hoping to get out of group like I was hoping in 2022. I expect to win the group. And then that's all you can ask for. And to draw a third place opponent, that's the most you can ask for right now. And that's what our path is looking like. So I want us to win 2 knockout matches. That second knockout match is probably going to be against Belgium or Egypt, the way the bracket's looking, if everything goes to chalk. Either Belgium or Egypt. Not easy, and we'll be underdogs. Make no mistake, we'll be underdogs. But we could certainly draw a lot tougher opponents in that spot of the tournament. And so you take the chance. It's about percentages, right? I mean, we may still be the underdog, but our percentage is still bigger than it would be against, a Spain or an Argentina or France. So anyway, guys, the World Cup is coming. It's coming in June. We're going to have those games in March where we're going to play like the highest quality opponent that you can ask for. So tell me what you think. Let me know. Leave it in the comments. What do you think of our chances? What do you think of this draw? And what's your confidence level for the U.S. men's national team right now? And how are you feeling about it? Let me know about all of that. Look, I'm going to get out of here, but remember, we have MLS Cup tomorrow, 2:30 in the afternoon, Eastern time on Fox and Apple TV. We got Miami versus Vancouver. Y'all, the more I look at this matchup, the more juicy it gets. Vancouver is probably the team out of the West that matches up the best against Miami. They already beat them up in CONCACAF play earlier this year. Both teams are going to want the ball. Both teams are about possession. And it seems like it would be a case of the collective versus talent, team versus talent, where you have maybe better individual players on Miami's side, but Vancouver's playing better as a team. That would appear to be the case, at least that would describe them for most of this season. The scary thing is that Miami seems to have come together as a team during the postseason, and they're playing at a level, they're hitting on all cylinders. They've peaked at exactly the right time. So it's going to be a really, really good match. I hope that you'll watch some soccer with me, and I'll talk to you next time.